Welcome to the Education and Training Best Practices for Charting Package Tutorial Series, video number 4, dealing with the end-of-day workspace, scanners, alerts, setups, and the watch list you can create from those. Many of the characteristics involved in the scanner will carry over into video 5 that deals with the intraday workspaces. Many of the scanners are the same except for the intraday is set up the conditions to apply to intraday price action, and the end of day is entirely different in the way that it looks for it and finds the results. But if they have the same name from one workspace to the other than the end of day part, then they're looking for the same conditions. Thanks for watching our video, and be sure to subscribe to our channel while you're here. And if you're not already a member of our Active Trader Setups trading package, be sure to check out the other videos that are available here on our YouTube training channel. And visit ActiveTraderSetups.com, where you can find out more about our trade setups, our trigger prices on the charts, multiple day price advances. Good for day trading and swing trading. We have 4 trade setups, 2 long and 2 short. Trigger prices are right on the charts real time before they trigger. You'll have a display like this will appear on the chart when you're 2 factors away from triggering a long or a short. In this case it's a long, saying we're 2 factors away, and if it's a short it'll say short watch. And then we have the next level up or down in the current level we're at when you're looking for that retracement alert and you want to get a confirmation on the reversal right on the chart at all times. Our package comes complete with pre-built charts, scanners, and training. You can scan for end of day, intraday, or just watch your charts for day trading or swing trading. We offer a free 14-day trial offer, which you really got to cram and study to get all this in 14 days, or we offer a 30-day. The 14-day comes complete with free data through an arrangement we made with a data provider to give you a 14-day free trial on their product at the same time you're trying ours. Also, you can do a 30-day free trial if you already have your own data plan that has historical tick data. You can use your data plan and we'll give you a 30-day trial. So head over to ActiveTraderSetups.com. Take a look at our products page. There's a lot of the charts on there for you, as well as on their contact us. You can fill out a registration for the free trial offer. We're going to get started with the workspace that is labeled End of Day Scan Tab Quick Load No F100. It's an exact duplicate of End of Day Scan Tabs, with the difference being that there's no factor 100 being loaded, which speeds up the process when you're loading all these columns. I would also going to teach you how to take this and revise it down as you use it and decide the parts you want to use. You'll delete some of the tabs and then you'll save it as my end of day, just like we have it named, and you'll have your favorite things you're looking for. The first thing I want to talk about, I moved way over into the middle of this. I have a end of day, all of these are end of day that are in here. There is a bull zone and bear zone, end of day, daily, weekly, bear zone, and bull zone. This particular one that I'm in says free end of day data only, daily and weekly, bull zone and bear zone. This can be used if you're on a data plan where you have 100 symbols or 500 symbols and you want to look at even more stocks. Now, I wouldn't recommend loading over 500 symbols. You load 500 symbols and then it's going to take it about 30 minutes to get through loading and springing the results out, and I actually did that This is 475 symbols that's in here right now. And if you wanted to do even more symbols, or a group of 40 or 50 extra ones you want to come in and add that you picked up, you've been building a list or you're watching, you could do that as well. And this is only connected to, or was at the time I did this, to the free end of day data. And you could use, we have another product. If in using our product you decide you can't follow these algo charts, and some people can't, or they're not comfortable with it, whatever your reason may be. These scans that are in here, be testing these, are end of day scan, and then there's some more up toward the front that you do have to have live data to use these 30-minute, 60-minute, 30-minute, 60-minute bull and bear zone scanners as well. And then in the other intraday, there's some 15 and 30-minute, or 15 and 10-minute. You could actually take this and duplicate it end of day and go in and change all these columns to a smaller time frame, and you can scan intraday for breakouts in the morning and so forth, which we do have built into the intraday scanners. The other package we have only has this product in it. It looks for the bull and bear zone break. This is a sample of a chart, and I took and added the green line and red line. I also plotted it so that each day as this price changes, it gives you the old results, so you can look back in history on some stocks and see, like when this stock broke out on the daily bull zone right here, how it ran for several days, got out above the bull zone levels, which this green line at that time would have been continually moving up each day. So that's why I put this other version. It's the same exact indicator as this horizontal line. I just added it twice in the indicator package. I went into the indicator package. This is the zone trigger level alert builder, and it was already on the chart up here as a horizontal line, red and green. Excuse me, I added it again. I made the upper line deep sky blue, the lower line red, and I set them up as a dash and a 2, and it's the same exact plot except for this stays in place. It doesn't draw it as a horizontal line, so that you can see the history of what happens as they get into these zones. The zone will keep moving down or moving up, whichever direction you're traveling in, and you want to get the 2 blue ones as much as possible. Every time you get 2 blue ones, you're gaining momentum. The direction of the momentum depends on looking at the chart to find that out. This is actually a daily chart, and I went ahead and made one on a 60-minute as well, and you can see this 60-minute breaking into a bull zone. Well, if you got that today, you can use that as a maybe prepare your watch list for tomorrow, and that's why I have the end of day 3060 in here as well. Now we have the 3060 and the 3060 trending, and the 3060 trending actually is looking at the 25 and the 50 current trend up here. It wants to find that we're in that uptrend. We got a green bar and we're rising on one of those two, are involved in these alerts. This particular group here does not have the trending involved in it. Now if you were using our other product that will only scan for the free end of day, it also, if you have free data maybe from TD Ameritrade or other places that don't include historical tick data, but it's live, you can connect those to Ninja at no charge as well, and you can use this package. Subscription is $39 a month. It doesn't have a free trial because it's actually the same thing as in here in this package now. It does have to be uploaded separate. It has a separate different license. license than this, and of course all these indicators up here go away, and it scans the 30-minute, 15s and 30s are built into it, just like you'll see on our intraday on the other video. Of course, they don't have any alerts that have to do with the force zone and so forth. It only looks at the daily, weekly, can do it on a monthly if you wanted to, and it's the bull and bear zone break. We've made videos on these for 2 years and had quite a following of that video, but I couldn't make it available to anybody, so we built that in this package, and it is available as a standalone package. You can just strictly do the free end of day with the free data that's free from Kinetic, and you can do no symbol limit, and you can run the scans. I loaded them in here and I got these results. We'll look at a few of them. This one says Walmart daily in bull zone with a Momo push trigger end of day, and that's the chart we're looking at here. And the Momo push means it wasn't a crossover like we look at some other charts where we got the momentum indicator both going long exactly the same time. Many times on the daily you will have one already blue, and then the other one will join it a bar later or a bar or two later. And when you've got upward momentum that's indicated by this blue one, and then the lower blue one joins it, it's gaining momentum. You got lower momentum and it then joins. This could have pushed down a lot more. So that's sometimes like right here. You had when it got way down here, you only had the upper was already there and the lower came in. So when you can get the two blue ones, whatever direction of the trade is gaining momentum. And there were several of those came up. This is SKY came up that it's come in with a two blue one crossover here, so it may gain some momentum and explode out above this level. OMC was another on the weekly and the daily, and you can see this had the momentum already to the upside, and it was already above the bull zone at that time 3 days ago, and then today it picked up even more momentum, so it showed up on this scanner. Great way to build a watch list. A lot of people have let me know that this is what they traded off of. They built their watch list off the bull zone break, because when you first get the bull zone break and you got your two blue ones, you are probably going to get some follow through for 2 or 3 days. So again, that's this column running off the free end of day data that you can get free, and you can subscribe to that package alone for $39 a month. There's no free trial. If you're a person that don't even want to try this particular package with everything in it, you only want to look at the free end of day, and maybe if you have TD Ameritrade or somebody, you can bring the free data in and look at the smaller time frames as well. That's a $39 a month subscription package, and you can just sign up for it and not do a free trial. And if you're doing this free trial with the algo system, you got a chance to try this out already, and then you can just transfer yourself over to the package that only does the bull and the bear breaks. So we're going to finish on the bull zones and talk about what they're looking for. We've already talked about the momentum coming into the bull or bear trade, and there should be some more down here. These were all momentum, and then this other side over here was a double X cross. So that's a two blue ones simultaneously. So as this stock has already been running up for 2 or 3 days, and it's not in a consolidation at all, so this could happen at any point in time. When you get the two blue one cross simultaneously, you can get some momentum going in a direction, one or the other. Right back here, this I don't know why the crosshairs are not working. Okay, here we go. You can get two blue ones right here crossed over and it got stuck, and immediately the next day one of the blue ones went back to yellow, and you can see the momentum didn't continue. Here you had two blue ones, same thing on the bottom side. It was down, wasn't in a bull zone, just a two blue one momentum here, and it held there, and then it went back to yellow ones, so the momentum was gone. That don't mean it can't continue to go down. That means the momentum that was coming in is gone. We're looking for, what we're actually looking for on the bull zone break or the bear zone is to be breaking the line, and the perfect break is to get the double X, because you're coming out of a nice consolidation area, like right back here. You had consolidation right here. You had this big candle that pushed up. It didn't go all the way into the bull zone, but it pushed up. Looks like it would have closed really close to the bull zone, and it gave a double X crossover. That's setting up for a consolidation break and a momentum outbreak. And there you had 4 follow-through days that ended up moving this particular stock about $5 or $6. So that's actually what we're looking for, is a consolidation break with momentum, is what the two blue ones are about. And this can happen on a 10-minute chart, a 30-minute chart. It doesn't matter. Here it is on this 60-minute chart. You can take this chart, it works on all time frames, change it over to a 30. Right here you got this multi-day consolidation. Got a blue one right here, and another, this would have been not a double X, but it was trying to get some momentum, and it took it several more days, and then finally right here, this is a day now, this is 30-minute candle, this is one day. The next morning, if you were running this exact same scan we looked at up in the first tab here, if you were running this intraday, this 30-minute breakout breaks out that morning up into the bull zone, it gets the momentum, so it shows up over here, momentum push, and it goes bull zone, and you get this huge day up. A lot of people like to run these scanners right alone by themselves and just trade right off of those breaks. As long as you got consolidation break, you're generally going to get a follow through. As long as when you get this break, if you keep this blue one at the bottom and the top, you've got momentum building and it's going up. So it's a great day trading scan at the open, is to take your 30. Now that don't mean these don't jerk around in the first 30 minutes, but it ended up not. 30-minute, 60-minute bull zone. You might get a 60-minute bull zone going to a multi-day trade. You can do that on a 30 as well, but sometimes it's just a morning break. You can run these on 10 and 15-minute charts too. You can run them middle of the day on 5-minute charts and find these stocks that's consolidated. I do this, we talked about this in the daily, running this exact same scan, looking for 5-minute, 10-minute charts, looking for the breakout of those consolidating stocks. And the system can handle a bigger number of stocks when they're running these scans. Of course, early in the morning you get more results. You might want to run a shorter list in the morning, a bigger list in the afternoons, if you have something greater than just end of day data. And if you got TD Ameritrade, you can tie it in here, and there's several other data sources that have free data that you can tie into Ninja, and you can find that on the website. But that's what the bull and bear zone break is. It's bull zone is breaking the level that I've already got calculated for you on the chart, and it's breaking the level, and it's going to have momentum with it if it's going to show up on that scanner. And then if it's just a double X cross, we've got that built in just for the double X cross. This is actually a daily bull zone break, not just a double break cross. This is actually, we got to get on the daily to. The stock has ran up. It's closed above the bull zone. 57.69 is the level of the bull zone, and the close was at 57.73. So this stock got into my bull zone, and it got the double X crossover. So this on the daily is showing momentum. This is not a support resistance line. This is a calculated level to be considered what I consider a bull zone. And you got your double X, so this becomes a great watch stock for the next day. see if there's another one of those on here. This is just a double cross on ash. It doesn't say bull zone. It is in the bull zone. It probably was in the bull zone yesterday, or it may be listed again down here in both ways, because it will show up on both scanners. That's a nice breakout here. This would have intraday, if you were scanning the daily for the same exact scan, not free intraday, but actually intraday, if you had live data or free data from one of the sources available, you could have picked this up early in the morning and had this great trade during the day on this particular stock. And back here you can see where it did the same thing. It got into the bull zone with the momentum there and just kept going. Once it breaks, once you get your breakout, as long as you keep that blue one on the opposite side of what you're doing, you got gain. When finally the lower blue one goes away, you may maintain the upper blue one and still continue to go up. You just don't have the momentum that you were building. And just because you've got momentum on a daily don't mean you can't have a red day and still maintain an uptrend. There's a red day, there's a little inside day, another red day, another inside day, and then continuation on up. It was still, even though it broke below the newly calculated bull zone because it's rising so fast, that's not that important once you break out. Maintaining this blue one, as long as you maintain that lower one, you're still going to have possibilities of a lot more upside, whether it be on a 30-minute chart or a daily. There's multiple alerts built into that system that we ran these out of, that free end today, and you can see this CGNX showed up several times. It came in on the bull zone break all by itself, broke the bull zone level. That's all it did. Then it came in on the double X cross, likely consolidation break, which you can see it's in a consolidation, and it picked up some momentum, and it is going to the upside. Then it also showed up on the bull zone with the daily double cross. That's your preferred scan right there. You're breaking out, you're closed above the bull zone, and you got the double X cross going with it. So that's a scan you could run in the mornings, and you might find early stocks. But this is a setup for multiple day, most likely. If it can keep this blue one at the bottom, this thing can keep going for multiple days, and it can end up looking something, like this downtrend you had back here. So this showed up on 3 different scans there. The bull by itself, the double X by itself, and then the combination of the 2. And that will work on any time frame, 30 minute, 60 minute, 15 minute, and that's included in the standalone package at $39 a month. If you don't have nothing but the end of day data, then you will only be able to scan the end of day scans and get the end of day alerts. But the package comes with the ability to use it either way if you decide later to get live data. If anyone watching the video don't understand this, don't be shy. Go to the websites and hit the contact form. There's a general contact form. You can just send in a question, be glad to answer it for you, even talk to you. Okay, we're going to get away from the bull zones. What you have left to right, and we are in this workspace, end of day scans, quick load, no F100. First tab you have is end of day 30 and 60 minute. We already know what that is. 30 and 60 minute with trending. It will only show up in the direction of the bull to the bear zone break, and it has to be on our 25 or 50 factor uptrend rising here. Now, if you're trading low price stocks, all these work on any price stock. This trend part, the 25, would be more what you're looking for, and if you're on the bigger stocks, you probably want to be looking at your 50 results. You'll get some that'll come out and show you it's uptrending on a 25, and it's Nvidia or Tesla you're looking at. Those 25s really don't matter. You need to be looking at a bigger trend. End of day this is live data one, and the free end of day probably works with both. This may not work with a free end of day. I had to build some custom ways to make this work with the free end of day. Ninja won't let you use last price on the free end of day. They don't want you to figure out how to scan with it, but I did figure out how to scan with it. Okay, getting away from the bull zone and the bear zones, we got the one they show up again over here. Toward the end, we had those that free end of day one is the only one down toward the end that's bull and bear. Everything else is going to have to do with the force indicators and the green zone crossovers and so forth. I'm currently unloading the symbols in this, and I want you to notice something. They're slow to unload, and the further down the list it gets, the faster it'll go. I don't have this linked to a chart. There's no instrument link like in a color, and the reason for that is you don't want to be cycling down through this list and it trying to load charts while you're doing it. When you're trying to unload these, you need to unload these every single day. If you save your scanners, you might could leave 20 stocks in a scanner, but if you leave a lot of stocks in these lists, this is why we have the backups, because you'll get your system so overloaded when you try to open up your platform. It's trying to load all these, and you really can't do a whole lot till it gets through loading and calculating, and it may never get through. I can't emphasize this enough. They're unloading a little faster now. I wanted you to see how to do that and see why. We're going to go back to the left and start left to right with the rest of these scanners and what they find. F25, 50, and 100. Now the 100 is gone because I took it out. I just didn't rename the tab. This is looking for the force. We're going to throw a few symbols in here. I don't want to get overloaded. And this is also, there's something else you're going to see on the end over here, pre-market scan. I figured out how to do that. I'm not sure how accurate it is, but it does get some results that you can look at some stocks that would have pre-market action. And you can run if you're using the free end of day data, that particular one, and you can be connected to more than one at a time. So I'm to my live data and the free end of day. In the mornings when you're looking for stuff that might be gapping, there's a lot of places out on the internet to find all kind of information. It's a little bit easier, but you might want to then chart some of those. If you're a morning person, you can get up and load that free end of day. It's using yesterday's closing data to bring you the bull zones. You can do your work in the morning or the evenings off that particular scanner, the one that's labeled free end of day. Now don't make the mistake of loading so many symbols in that it's still trying to load and it's 9:30 and you want to get over in your other workspace, because you're probably going to have issues even with a fast computer. You need about a minimum. You can probably run this with 8 RAM. I at times will get my 8 RAM filled up, and I have a 16 and 32 RAM machines, but you need processor speed. I would want a minimum of 8 RAM and almost 2.0 or better gigahertz on my processor. I've got 3.8, 4.2. This machine here is actually running about a 2.6 gigahertz. This one has 32 RAM. It's a very old machine, but does a pretty good job. But you can get, especially when you get over in these other ones and start loading, you don't understand what all's involved in calculating this tick data. It's a huge amount of work, and it can take, you put 100 symbols in here, it could take 35 or 40 minutes to get through loading. So don't overload your machine. You can load 30, 40 symbols in, let them calculate, load 30 or 40 more in, and break your list into maybe 50 at a time. I got mine broke into 100s. I've got an instrument list that's 475 stocks. I've got another one that's 400 stocks, and then I break them down. This particular, that's 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 that make up that 475. Then I have my trade list This is my core list of stocks that I'll go to if the market's wide open. I don't need to be looking at too many. And most of the time, I've got 10 or 15 stocks on charts, and that's all I'll look at. I don't even scan a lot of times until on up in the morning. I'll start looking at what has the force, and I'll look at that early as well. And this is a bigger list where I have about 100 symbols on this list, and this one here is about 30 something. Now I have a little tiny mini list, what we're going to load here, and let it do its calculations. Now I want you to notice I dropped the menu down. We've got an end of day scan tab, and we got an end of day scan tab SMATR, smaller ATRs. It don't have the 50 in it, it has 10s and 25s. So if you're trading lower price stocks, you can go over there and scan, and you're not wasting time waiting on these calculations to run on these 50 series because you don't need it. It doesn't really apply to those lower price stocks. And you can see, you saw my screen do a little flash in there, and it's because I'm trying to do something and it's working so hard here, it don't want you moving around. Now this is only was loading 30 stocks. They just all popped up there at one time when I hit the resume button on the audio here. What we just did is we got our 25 force. That's our 25 algo chart. The force is green, and that's true on BURL down here. If it says strong, then you'll find this line to be green. Uptrending or downtrending, that's the color of your line on your 25 algo chart. Same thing on the 50. So you can see what the trend is, and you can find the stocks that are strongest. Now this also ran some alerts at the same time. And I'm just going to type this in because this is linked to red. Now we can change it over and link it to purple and go to the these other charts. I don't want to sit here and waste time loading all this, so I'm just going to load what counts. I'm going to actually change this to no instrument. And load Ash in there where we can get a quick look at that. And I'm going to slide this back down. I was stretching these charts out over here to get a better view. Got a 3-panel chart on this system rather than a 2-panel where you got these separated, and at night you can see a little more clear. In the daytime you might want to be running the 2 panels where these are overlaid with each other. You can run either one you want to. So we have a strong 50. It's been strong for 2 days, and I am going to link these together to make this a little bit quicker. I'm just going to do orange, and we're going to do several, so I'm going to go ahead and just change this up here too. We're going to take a look at the daily chart while we're looking. Now I like to look at support and resistance. This is not support and resistance charts here. There they are in the system here. Here they are. Here's your daily with your support and resistance lines. You can see where this stock, when it sold off, got down, tested some previous lows from back here. It bounced. These are old highs that were established at some point before it broke out. That's a support line. You can see how it held that for days. This is a 200 moving average in the orange, and the 50 is blue. So this stock is up here, been riding this old support line. This was resistance twice, and now that it's above it, it's been serving as support, and it served pretty well. So you can just see exactly how that applies. And now it started to break up, and then today it went double one on the bull zone. Now we're on the momentum indicator building there, double X. Could have been bull zone as well. It did, went bulls on as well. But see, it's strong on the force. Force 50 is strong. The force, I gotta find ash, I'm in the wrong place. That was not ash. That was up here, ash was on the alert builder. I thought it was ash. I'm sorry, that one's strong too. Okay, this is force weak on this one. So the force is weak, and it's, now you can see when you look at a chart like this means absolutely nothing. All this is nothing but sideways chop. This stock is range bound. You have to go up to another level to figure out something about this stock. You're going to go up to the 100 or the 200, because this is worthless information. Anytime you look at a stock and you say, well, that don't tell me nothing, believe what you just told yourself. It don't tell you nothing. Find another chart, either another chart on the same symbol or another stock altogether. NC was weak. Now see, this showed up on the 25. That don't really apply so much to NC. That's why it says small ATR stocks. Bank of America and F50 strong. It says solo. That means this is green on the 50 and it's not green on the 25. We have alerts built for a 25 solo, a 50 solo, and when they're a combination, the 50 will be strong and the 25 will be stepping back up into momentum to strength. So that's how these will show up on these scanners that come out of this. When you're scanning the force, we're scanning a 25 solo alert, and you can see where this was 25 weak solo. Got 25 over here on NC on the 25 chart. Weak on the 25, but not weak on the 50 yet. That's why it says solo. If the 50 had been red, it'll be like this one. It'll say 25 with 50. NC's got the 50 and the 25. So this stock is continuing to have pretty good momentum. Now if this, you catch that blue one push back down on this stock, it's gaining even more momentum. So that's what's coming out of this scanner, is the force alert, and the trend is just in here for your benefit to be able to see what the trend is. Now you can go down and work this trend as well, and you can sort these and get all your strongs up here together. Now that was on that short list of stocks, and you can look what your trending is. If you got a 50 uptrending, like right here, we'll go look at this one, UMP. We're going to look at one more down here, AMP. You got a 50 uptrending, so it's coming back visiting, and you got a 25 downtrending. You can see what's happened over here. Now, is it going to reject here, bring the 50 down again, or is it going to go on back up? Because the 50, you may find a 25 downtrending that's come all the way down, made the perfect curve, and be trying to turn back up right when it's bouncing off the 50. This particular is not what we're particularly looking for when you compare these two. But if you got the uptrending on the bigger trend and the downtrending on the smaller trend, this one's very similar. Again, it got down below the 25, hadn't got back through it. It's never gave a full pullback here. So we know this can have the possibility of pulling all the way back to this line, which would be probably another $1.50. So you could get this continuation down and then have a trend shift on it when this actually reaches there. So if we actually were looking at this, what I would be looking for is the stock that's all the way back here or very close, and this one's already sold off a lot and it's downtrending, and it may be near wanting to reverse and head back up, and then you can tie it in with this chart and use it as your entry trigger to step back in on this retracement alert. That's why I load these in here. So if you've gone to the trouble of loading them, to calculate the alerts, you also have an opportunity to look for this particular setup I'm describing to you, and it's just a visual is what you're looking for. And you can see this one didn't really sell off that far, but now it's crossed the 25. So this is kind of what I was talking about. I was really talking about a bigger sell-off, but regardless, we've got back above the 25, and now we're looking to hold it and then turn it back green, correct? It's set right here to go green at 141.15, and this would just be continuing on up. So this would be to me, this is a long watch stock. It may pull back to this level again, and we'll bring this down a little bit more, maybe not even enough to plot a closed algo. So that's what you do with that information in here. You will get some alerts up here you can look at, and it's not a lot of alerts on these stocks, but they're up there. NSC was strong in both. Oh, excuse me. I was trying to load KMB. Oh, it didn't show the. I thought it showed the force over here too. That's what I was trying to look at. I want to look at UHS. It was breaking up pretty nice yesterday. You see this nice run from July the 5th. This broke up into the green zone. And see, at the end of the day, if you're looking here, you'll see that this was in the end of day condition of being strong. It also, right here, the date is in this box right here. Ever since the 3rd at 11:20, this has been strong. So that was way back here. So at the end of the day, not in the force on the 25, but it was in the force on the 50, and it was rising. And you could look at your 25 and say this may hold and continue on up, and that's exactly what this has done. It's been a huge run with the strength 50. Even though our 50 was still falling, this stock's given a good run here for a few days, about $4 off the 25. This is not a huge ATR stock, even though it's a high dollar stock. So it consolidated there for that couple of days around the holiday, and then it broke on out with this force. This is an excellent way to build a watch list as well. Now, what's going to happen here? Most likely we're going to revisit this rising green line. Now, kind of a rule of thumb, if you're wanting to set yourself an alert, it will show up on the retracement alerts, but you're looking for every 2 factors this falls, it's going to rise about 30% of another factor. So down 2, up a little less than 1. So if you fall 2 factors or 4 factors, that'd be $2. You can look for this to probably rise 80 cents to $1. So if you're trying to figure out where they're going to intersect at, you take this level at 115.26, subtract $2, you're at 113.26, and that's about 80 cents up on this green line. That's about where these are going to intersect at, is in the 113 to 113.30 area. So I do alert on this at 113.50. This stock pulls back to 113.50. You're going to have a nice line up here for a retracement setup, and that's my favorite swing trade, is to find a swing trade algorithm that's got the breakout and then get the revisit and then head on back up. You had a nice breakout here. It's got the force with it. It's got the double X, and it gave another $1 here after it broke out. It can just continue on up tomorrow. Huge stock to be watching in the next trading day after I'm making this video, and I was already watching this. Is the reason I wanted to pull it up and share that. You want to always remove your symbols, because when you shut this down, you don't want the symbols loaded in there. So always remember that. And I try to, when I know it's empty, I'll go ahead and save it. But usually when I close out, I don't save the workspace. This is the end of day force only, so it doesn't have to spend the time calculating the trend. If you just want the quick alerts, you can go right here. All it has in it is the force, and that's it. So this loads faster because it's not running so many calculations. Still gives you the same information a week and strong, but it's not having to perform these other two calculations for the if the line is green on the 25 and green on the 50, green or red, whichever case may be, uptrending or downtrending. That's the only difference in these two. The alerts are the same. Of course, it can't use the trending in the alert because the trending is not present. So we had our trend over here, and now we don't have our trend. So it's just a quicker load tab with alerts. Now, so far I'm watching up here, no new alerts have come in. I'm going to clear this, and if any alerts generate out of this, they'll show up there as it gets through loading everything. A couple of alerts now have appeared up in the upper section. Again, the 25 is kind of small for UNH. It's probably not small for CVX or even Visa, being the price stock Visa is. It's not a huge ATR stock. Now, Visa has the Force Strong Solo on the 50. There's a lot more loading in as it's getting through loading this data to perform the calculations to send the alerts out. So you can do this kind of stuff. You can load up, you end up with your favorites, and you load up your favorites with maybe 50 symbols, and you go have dinner. You come back in a few minutes and you can load some more symbols, and you can walk away and you can come in here and look at it later. But remember, when you shut down, all these alerts are gone. And to be sure, again, to make sure you unload your symbols. I unloaded the symbols, and we did get a few alerts. I'm not even going to bother looking at those. Those are the exact same thing we were talking about on the last tab. Just letting you know what the scanners are built to do. When you unload and you start trying to move around, you get this condition here where it's still loading and your system seems sluggish. Just leave it alone for a minute and let it get through doing whatever it's trying to do. Mine's real sluggish right here. Another reason is this recording software is real strenuous on resources. If you try to rush the process, you can actually cause Ninja to just shut down. If it ever tells you it's not responding and you get the white box pop up and it gives you that option of waiting, click wait. It'll generally stay there and continue doing what it's doing without shutting you down. If you spent the time loading these symbols up and you get in this condition and you let it shut down, you're losing all your scan results. So try not to press it, let it get through. Be really careful with your system. If it kind of gets a white line drawn around one of these boxes, that's when it's really stressing out, and just try to leave it alone. This is the single biggest addition to the trading package. End of day green zone and red zone crossovers. When you're scanning intraday, this is a 50 algo chart, and this stock makes this crossover right here. Intraday scanner picks that up. You can't come in later after it happens and scan for this. So I had this specially built by our programmers for an end of day. This is set to look and see what the close of business yesterday was compared to the close of business today. So in this case, yesterday, UHS would have said yes. It changed from red to green by the end of the day, and that's that dotted line. Looks like it changed right at the close. On the 9th, it actually changed at, according to this, 10:52 in the middle of the morning. It did the crossover. It just didn't ever go up anymore by the end of the day. So there you have the crossover. It tells you yes in the 50 column that I changed from red to green. Then you go find your chart and you just happen to be sitting right where it changed at. That's what you're trying to find. The reason the 10s and the 25s are in here, and they're actually in the other workspace that doesn't say no F100, because remember we're in the one with no F100 quick load, has the 100. And if you're a swing trader, you want to be using the other workspace because you want the F100. If you're trading lower ATR stocks, then this one's fine. 10, 25, 50. A 50 algo on a low ATR stock is huge. You don't even need to look at the 100. But that's the reason the 10 is in here as well as the 25, is for those lower ATR stocks. So you may load this up. You learn what you're using and then you modify to fit your needs, but that's after you do the save as to a different name, and then you start modifying. You don't leave it the name we have it, because you start modifying it, you destroy what's already here. So you save your workspace, save as, give it a different name. It could be my to keep things consistent, could be my ATR end of day quick load, and then you could have another one for my end of day quick load, just like I have it for the higher ATRs, and I'll label it SMATR for small. And then you could take the 10s out of the higher one, and if you look at some lower price stocks, sometimes you could remove the 50 column, and all you do is right click and remove the column. You go to the column and you delete it. Now when you delete that column, any alerts that are built into the system are going to quit functioning. They'll be here, but if you come back here and they'll look normal, but when you go here and you go to edit the columns where the 50 was linked, none of this will be showing. It'll just say columns, because what it was looking for in the columns is no longer there. But it won't show it until you click on it. Also, the alerts can be turned on or off. I have the 10s by default turned off on every one of these. Even though it's loading the data, it's not sending out an alert. It's sending alerts on the 50. That's all it's sending, because I look at higher ATR stocks. If you want to get alerts on the 25s, then you need to select the 25 and click enable and click apply and hit OK. This shows the result, but it doesn't alert it, because I use a higher group of stocks and I'm doing this for bigger crossovers. I'm not interested in the 25. Now you can sort these columns as well, and gives you all the ones that cross today. We'll load one of them up. And it tells you that that little red line was there, so it wasn't actually way down here, but it closed with a red and now it's green. And on the 10 minute it said the same thing. We'll go over here to SBAC again, and we got the crossover on the 50. It closed yesterday. I thought this was Bank of America earlier. It's not. This closed yesterday red, and it finally closed today green. So it made a crossover, and it just happened to make it right at the close. And it got the double X, and it's had the force all day. since 10:30 this morning and made a pretty nice run of about $2.50 there. Now, this is not a perfect chart. This is not what we're looking for. This is not a trend shift. It's been stuck in a range, and it got outside the range in two directions. I would want to look at a higher ATR stock before I thought about a swing trade on this particular stock. It's had a lot of range. It's a high ATR stock and it does a lot of moving. So this would be one, if you see the stock, it looks like this, feel like it's not telling you anything, and move up to the next level. And I'm going to load this on the next level just so we might see the difference. It's really was trying to be in an uptrend back 3 weeks ago, and it's kind of been stuck in this range sideways. It looked like it wanted to fail right here, but it did not, and it may continue on up. I would want the force to get back in this 100 before I thought about long on the stock. This is a Workspace tab I would want to load a lot more symbols in than I did to find if I'm in the lower ATR stocks. I want to see those 25s that are crossing, and if I'm in the higher ATR stocks, I want to see the 50s that are crossing. I'm going to find that stock is sitting where this one is. If this was a nice sell-off and I had this pattern, I'm looking for a retracement, because I am multiple factors out above here. We're $2.50, so that's about 5 factors out. I'm looking for this to pull back. If it pulls back, say $2, this is probably going to rise some, and they're going to meet in that, say, 163.50 area. And that would be what I would want to see. Now, this stock may just head on up tomorrow morning very strong. It's got the double X cross and it's got the force with it. It can be on a watch for either thing that happens. It could gap down into the 25 here and then go straight back up, and that would be pretty close to where this would be anyway. In my opinion, these two tabs are your single most important tabs. Now, I just loaded some symbols into this unit before I started back recording, and you can see this box got highlighted around it, so and it's causing the others to get highlighted around, so it's putting a stress on the system, and that's when you do not want to touch it. Leave it alone. It'll figure it out. I have even gone into the task manager and saw that it said Ninja was not responding, and Ninja will work it out. If your processor can handle the math, it'll get it done. We used to, when I first developed this, I tried to put indicators live on the web by running these scans at night, and I found that wasn't going to be a doable process. One, traders needed to see the chart to know what the setup was, but two, as I would load these symbols, doing 100 at a time on a very fast machine, it would take it 8 to 30 minutes to load up 100 symbols, and that's per column or per tab that you see. So it was an ongoing process that took hours to run, and if this thing locked up along the way as it flashed, then you ended up getting shut down and had to start over. I would sit up to 3:30 in the morning trying to load up the stuff to run tomorrow intraday, and have had it on the very last set of 100. I've loaded in the last 100 symbols, say, okay, I'm going to bed, and I did it before it got through the previous 100. It locked up, shut the whole system down. It was a 7-hour process. So I had to give up on that, and I also realized that you can't trade what you can't see and understand. So that's why I went ahead and took my system and developed it into a product that everybody can use. We'll look at ALK just so you can see what happened here. It says on the 50 it turned back to red, but it's well above it. I actually like to be below the line when I do my color changing. So this may turn right back and go long and head on back up. It's had a pretty decent little downtrend here for a couple of weeks. I think we already looked at that next one. We'll go to BURL. We haven't looked at that one yet. It's in a chop zone, so it's not telling me anything anyway. And that's all those that we brought up. But this is your most important crossover. You can't scan for it on the regular. You have to scan for it using this end of day special indicators we have built. Now you can see that TAP has been in a pretty nice upswing. This was actually a really nice trade when it broke the 50 right here back on the first part of June. It was a nice multi-day swing trade. You can see when it made the turn, it stayed true to the system, never changed the colors, went sideways for 1, 2, 3, 4 days, and then it finally started grinding up. And when it came up, it got some force right here on this particular morning, early in the morning. And these are days now. Every one of these lines a day. So this is a low ATR stock on a big factor. So this is a swing trade setup, and it gave us a nice run from 63 all the way up to $70. That's 10%. So you go, you capture your gains, and now what are you? When it first time it did this, I'd be out. I'd probably be out up here anyway, somewhere along the way. Especially once I lost my lower blue one. I know my momentum, it's still going up, but I'm going to be looking at a lot of other things, seeing if I'm running into old support, old resistance. That's what you go over and use these charts for. Am I running into a reason for me to stop? And this is not TAP. Go ahead and clear these symbols out while that TAP's loading there on that daily. It didn't make it all the way, but it got very near these old lows, and these old lows are now our resistance lines. It's got to get back through there to continue up. And it looks like it's going to roll over. Now whether it's going to go all the way back down to the old lows, nobody knows. It may just go back and retest this 50 and then head back up again. Our next two tabs are end of day advanced zone plan ahead and end of day 25 SMATR. So it's just on 25s. It's for small ATR stocks, and then we have a retracement next to that on the 50. The reason they're separated, and then there's one next to that, only 100. I didn't take that out of this one because it's not going to load while it's loading other things. It's a separate, completely separate tab, so it doesn't slow anything down. And the only thing we got left is a quick advance retracement, and I'll explain the difference in that. I'll go ahead and do it now. These are bars down, bars up, so it's picking up the movement back. It's not looking to see if it's in the uptrend. It's just a quick look for stocks that have pulled back. That's the reason I call it quick. There is a AM. I got a pre-scan here, and then I have a scan. The scan tries to look for stocks that have gone down pre-market and they're still above the green uptrending trend shift pivot zones. These lines, they got a gap down, but they're still holding even with the gap down price above this. I'm not absolutely sold that this works perfect. I tested it several mornings. It did produce some results. It has the scanners in here. It's looking for the gap down into the 25 or gap down greater than the TPS zone, and it looks in there and finds out that the zone is set to be that we're still above the zone. So the price is still staying above the zone, so we're assuming we got a long trend going on there. We're out above it. The pre-scan doesn't have all this calculations in here, and I developed it to come in and do the volume and then take just the volume stocks and run them on the scanner, because if it's just ticking stocks with no volume, it don't matter. So you can be looking at that kind of stuff while your free end today is loading up some alerts for you. That's why they're in the same category. And when you open this, it'll tell you there's stuff outside your windows. If you happen to be on a one-screen machine, tell it to pull it in, and what's outside your window is a pre-market chart on the 2-minute chart that has the 25 and the 50 already plotted on it. It has volume. This is pre-market volume, possibly, and of course this went on over during the day, but if it's moving around pre-market, you'll see it on your chart. That's outside the window. It's on a second monitor. But if you just tell the system when you open it, yes, I'll bring everything inside where I can see, and you'll see that pop in there, and that's what that is. The advanced, as I said, just looks at bars pulling back or going back up, depending on what it's looking for. And I'm going to explain the advanced retracement in more detail. And the actual scanner here looks at a lot more information, and I'll explain that when we get to that tab. We don't have to do them all. It's just one tab is the same as the others, just a different algorithm. First, the advanced planning. This is my second favorite scan. This is pulling on a lot of resources. I've got all kind of little windows in here flashing. It's got a lot of information to load. It's loading the 10, the 25, and the 50 all at the same time. And it's making a lot of calculations. These ones and minus ones are probably running on the actual trend. It is running on the trend. That's our green line and red line. So if it's 1, it's green. If it's minus 1, it's red. And it's looking at prior days, and it's comparing a whole lot of stuff going on here. So each one of these has the end of day versus the zone. It's a real complicated indicator that will not show a value unless it's against the zone. The 10s and 25s are in here for the lower ATR stocks, and the 25 can apply to a medium ATR stock if it's not one of the big movers like Nvidia or something. 25 is not going to be worth a lot of information. Let me see if I can load. It's still loading, so I'm going to give it a minute. Just pause the video while it finishes loading. I'm going to explain these columns to you. First, we got an alert on INTC on an F50 advanced setup long watch on red plan ahead alert. This is INTC, and what it just told us is the price is above the falling red line. It don't know it's falling, it knows it's red. The price is above the red line. So we have an advance long setup, because if we got the price above the red line, what are we expecting it to do? Either go up and go green and then come back later and revisit, or revisit first and then go up. Like here, when it was selling, it came back down, it revisited, and then it sold off, and then it did a retracement, and then it sold off. So this is what an advance is. We're looking for the stock that is above the line, and the line is red, or it's below the line and the line is green. Now actually what it's showing in the column, and you don't have to look for these because it sends the alerts out, but down here on Intel, which is this $52 stock, it says the end of day is versus the TSP zone is greater than, and we look out here and we see that the TSP zone is red, which means we've found what we're looking for. We've found a stock that is out above the red line. So we've got an advance warning to start planning a trade. It could take days to develop on a slow moving stock. As slow as this stock is, you see all these days. This is a very low ATR stock. It has turned around here 4 or 5 days ago, has been in an uptrend, and now it's getting in an even bigger change of direction, a bigger trend shift. And if we drew a trend line, we've definitely crossed the trend line now based on our peaks. We've got force for a couple of days, even though this is not a day trading stock. It only moves 50 cents a day, but it's got momentum. So it could be, if it's something you're interested in swing trading, it's in that position now. And that's what the advance is, to give you an even bigger head start on finding this, and it puts it right up here in your alerts. Plan ahead. All of these are just the same setup, and JPM is the end of day 25. It come down below, so we'll load JPM just so we can see that. You can see that it's been in an uptrend, and now it's closed below the green. It happens to have the force to the downside as well. And then we go over and refer to our bigger trend was trying to change directions, and it may just be going to do this slight retracement and head on back up, which gives it about another $1 downside. So this could easily drop $1, come back up, and head back up. I would probably step out to a bigger trend. This has got a lot of chopping. These financials have been really moving the last several days. But that's what the advance zone alert is. It's looking for the opposite. We want to be below, price below the uptrend. So we may have something setting up to change the trend. And that's all this is for, and it's an advance alert. The alerts will come out up here. And these are designed to not show a value. It puts the value if it's greater than, it puts the red value if it's less than. So that way you don't have all these columns full of information. They're designed not to show anything if that's not true. So price less than the zone or price greater than the zone. This is the zone. Green 1 is uptrending, red -1 is downtrending according to the line, and that's all that's in there, and all this information. And you got 2 ones. This is not only uptrending, but it's been uptrending at least 2 algo plots. It didn't just switch over. This one here just switched over. GE. We'll just load that so you can see what I'm talking about. The last bar, it changed red to green. That's why it shows on the 25 green now, and 1 bar ago, 1 algo plot ago, it was red. So remember, I showed you in the alerts, with nothing or a 1, it's the current bar. If it's 1-1, it's 1 bar in arrears. So when we run our scanners, we want to know where we're at on that. That's what this is all about. You can use this information if you study and re-listen to what I've said here in the last 10 minutes. You can actually go down and start looking through these and figure them out for yourself. But there's your alert. You don't have to do that. There's not a lot of them alerted off of that. But there's your here's Caterpillar on the 25. It sat all day and chopped. It had a great day yesterday. Biggest trade I had on a day trade was this breakout. I'd already been watching it, and it broke out and run $5 yesterday intraday, and you can see where it ran all the way up, and then today it just went sideways all day. Now this may be just a case where this is gonna sit here and go on and turn it back green. Sometimes they will do that and sit in and consolidate, but looking at this chart, it's got a lot of room to do a retracement, which could send this down into this area. and I know that the market was gapping down well after hours today, so this may end up being prevalent tomorrow. This is the last tab we're going to be looking at. We already talked about the pre-market. This one has volume. This one is to take these and put in here. And then we got these advancements, so we're going to start with we're going to go with the 50 because I want to look at some. I need to make sure I got my symbols out over here. And I'm going to move to the 50 because it's going to have more relevant information to my big ATR stocks that I generally am watching. Now, as I said in the beginning of the video, the intraday workspace versus the end of day workspace, there's different criteria that are built into these to work after hours. Ninja will actually tell you that you can't scan after hours, that the results aren't there, but I had programmers build end of day information because I was building a charting system for swing trading and day trading. So there's many tools in here that can't be replicated without custom programming in NinjaTrader on this end of day stuff. Every one of these alerts, or most of them, are in the other intraday workspace without the EOD in front of them. Their criteria is built different on how they show results. The intraday, something is crossing over now. The end of day is just there. That's one of the differences in the way you build these. And then the intraday, where we were looking at our green zone crossover here with the yes in there, it scans it real time rather than yesterday was red, today's green. As it crosses over, it finds it real time. It doesn't refer to yesterday, it just refers to what's happening now. It could have been green yesterday, turned red this morning, and back green by the end of the day, and it would pick up both swings there. So they're all very similar, and then there's a set of indicators that has the force in it, of course, and then there's actually the scans that look for the green zone crossover, red to green, and it only shows the ones that have the double X crossover with them, trying to cut out where you got things like this going red, green. It's not a double X you see there. And then it crosses again, green to red. It's not a double X blue again. The double X blue will look like this. It'll have a blue going down and a blue going up. And so our scanner that scans for the red to green and green to red crossovers only brings results on a double X crossover. And the reason it does that is it tries to avoid all these that are in a chop situation. And that does a pretty decent job of doing that. It's not 100%, but you can see that all of this choppiness, red to green, green to red, it wouldn't have shown up on those scanners because they didn't have the double X. And then when it really counted, the momentum came in there, and then you ended up having the force with you as well. And most of these crossovers, other than one, didn't have any force up or down. So that's part of what's in the intraday that wouldn't be in the end of day. The last one we need to look at is the retracement. We already know what a retracement is. We've studied that. To retrace, you've got to be broke out. So this would be a stock on we'd be watching for a retrace. We want a pullback toward our line. So we have a lot of information in here, and this is the reason we got these broke down per algorithm. I'm going to show you this chart, AAL. Now, I don't know that it's on an alert up there. I didn't look. Probably is. Although I don't see it. It's called a red zone retracement pullback and a red zone or green zone retracement pullback, and a red zone retracement. I use the word rise so you know I was talking about a stock coming up into the red line. the particular stock I'm fixing to look at didn't meet all the criteria. Now, none of these alerts back here have any sounds on them. If you wanted to add sounds, you could by pulling up the alerts, going to add, and you can add sounds. These are bigger list of stocks you might be scanning, and you don't care about hearing that many sounds, in my opinion. The alerts that go off in the regular workspace that we day trade out of do have sounds, because you got shorter list and you're wanting to know now. This shows ALK. I didn't type the right symbol, I guess. One of the things is 51x projection. It has a 1, meaning it's true, it's active. There's your 1x on the chart. If it's not active, it says not active, meaning there's not a box on the chart giving you a trigger price to go whichever direction it's going to go. It's not telling you what direction, it's just telling you that it is projecting something on the chart. You can look and see that right now it's red, so if it's downtrending, it can only be projecting an uptrend. And that's what it is, projecting what the long trigger price would be. So that's how you can tell that it's a long watch or a short watch, because it will be opposite of the trend. Now in this case, this one's uptrending. It's been uptrending for more than one bar, because it has the trend and the trend one bar go. And it does not have a box on the chart. That's AL and Y. So it's not active, but it is uptrending, and it's been uptrending. Now we're going to look at this one here, ATHN. I typed that wrong, ATHN. This is just a chop fest. This chart doesn't tell us anything, but it does tell us here that we were uptrending one bar ago, and now we're downtrending this bar. Hopefully that'll make you see a chart that just switched, not one that's chopping like this. Maybe it just switched in a really big run up, and it's a legitimate alert setup that it's turned over. Usually when they first turn over, you'll have the opposite box to go back in the other direction here on the chart. In this case, you don't. And the fact that you don't may give this momentum to the downside. It has a double X here with the down force, and it hasn't had a double X in quite a while. Right here it had it, and it was only for one split bar, and a long time. So it's been in a huge chop fest here for several days. This is not an easy day trader. But what we're looking for, and I don't know that we got any alerts. I don't think we did. I'm loading some more symbols so we can try to get an example of an alert. Also, if you will, and I'm loading a lot of symbols that I may have not loaded on this machine lately, so it may take them a few minutes. I'm going to pause the video. But there's a workspace called Symbol Load. And if you will take your big list of stocks, even if you're just on a 100 symbol data plan, you can load them 100 at a time. If you load them on the weekend, all of your symbols into those tabs and let it populate, it's going back and loading in the algorithm, the 10, the 25, the 50, and the 100. And once it's done that, in the middle of the week, if you want to pull up one of those symbols that you hadn't looked at lately for whatever reason, remember intraday, Kinetic and IQ feed, and I'm sure the others may be even worse, they'll only let you go back 8 days for historical tick data. That's what it takes to build these charts. So if you've loaded your symbols once a week on the weekend, after hours it'll let you go back 180 days if you need to. Remember, we're only loading 100 bars. So if you update your symbol, your entire symbols, load them on the weekend, and you can put them in 100 at a time, do whatever you want to do. Just over the weekend, try to load them all into your instrument load workspace. Then you will keep current history on your computer, so during the day when you need to go back and get some information, it only gives you the 8 days back, but you've already got anything within 7 days if you load them every Saturday or every Sunday. I will go over that in more detail in the next video, because we won't have to spend as much time describing what the actual alerts are looking for, because you've already learned a lot of them in this video. We got a few alerts here on this list I loaded of 100 symbols. Humana shows a F50 green zone retracement pullback. We pull back to the line. Now this is what we're looking at. We're looking for these pullbacks. It may not be right on the line. It's putting a lot of criteria in there. It's looking at the green zone retracement. It's referencing that as far as part of the criteria, number of bars it's pulled back, the value in reference to these other values. It's also looking for stocks that don't have the 1x projected on the chart. Now this one has a 2x projected on the chart, and part of the scan is we're trying to look for the best setup. So we're scanning for the stocks that are pulled back. They may not be to the line, but we're scanning for the stocks that are pulled back and they don't have any X on the chart, no display whatsoever. And we've been teaching that when you get a pullback into a level and you don't even have a projection that it could possibly turn the green line back red, we know we're 3 factors away. We got a higher probability of the bounce. So in this case, we do have a 2x on the chart, but we don't have a 1x, and this is checking for the 1x, and if the 1x is not there, it says it's not active on the 1x projection, and it will come out into this alert. Anything with a 2x doesn't apply to what we're looking at. We're going to allow the 2x but not allow the 1x in this scan setup and all this other criteria that's built in. But this is what we're looking for, these pullbacks at the end of the day. So we know we might have a stock that's setting up for a run up tomorrow off of that line, or maybe even a rollover. It could be either one. If it just broke, my favorite setup for swing trading is to take where I just broke, I got a nice run up, and I've got the first pullback, like right here. I've got a run. Here's my first pullback. This is just a wiggle here. First pullback, and then I like this next trade off of that, especially if I don't have a 1x or a 2x box at all. I find this intraday and I don't have a prediction over here. I know I got a higher probability of bouncing and heading back up, and I may be at yesterday's high or yesterday's close or today's open. I may be at an inflection point that I can line up with this, and I'll take this trade early. I won't wait on it to recalculate back up. I'll just go on with the trade with a tight stop that I'm going to keep, that I don't believe that this stock's going to regress enough to print the next RZR level that would be showing at the time, which would be the next closed all go down linked by the dash bar. If I don't believe it's going to go down there and I take the trade, then I know it takes the amount of the algo to print another dot. So I know my stop can be 26 cents, and if what I believe is true, I'm not going to get stopped out. Here's your rollover on this left chart. It's broke down this afternoon into the red zone on the 25, which looks like it could give a retracement, a little gap up in the morning, and then head back down some more, which will be rolling this over. So this has run a long way for a lot of several sessions, and it's come back and retested all along the way and held. So if you want a swing trade, it's held all along the way for you. Now I would get a little more worried because it is flatlining here. It's starting to flat line, and it's also rolled over on your 25, which is rolled over on 25 more than one time in this process. But I'd always be weary if I see this setup, it looks like it wants to maybe sell off some in the next session. So that is what a retracement is looking for. A retracement is always a pullback into the current prevailing trend, and that's what we're looking for as retracement alerts. This is what I showed in the previous video on the intraday trading. I had a swing retracement watch, and that's what it's looking for. It's those stocks that I've discovered that have just crossed over, and I'm looking for that first pullback to set up for a multi-day swing trade. That explains your end of day quick scans. What I would do is I'd learn to use these. I'd learn the ones that I like the most. I would do one or two things if I wanted to keep them all in one tab, just like you have here, one workspace, and I didn't want to get rid of any of them. I just maybe only want to utilize 2 or 3 for the most part, but sometimes I might want to use the others. Then I would take my tab, I'd right click rename, and I put right in front of this name FAV for fave. You'll know it's one of your faves, and you'll go right to your columns at night or in the mornings when you're setting these up. Or over time you could totally save this under an entire different name, like my end of day, delete out some of the complete tabs that you don't even have any intentions of using, and then you'll have a smaller workspace. That's entirely up to you, and it really doesn't affect how it works or runs unless you're eliminating some of these columns for smaller ATR setups. Maybe the dime is not slowing it down. It can load that so fast it doesn't even matter. And that concludes the video. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned a lot. You can watch these things over and over. You can watch part of them, write down where you quit at, and come back and watch them again. The more you watch and learn, the more you'll utilize the system, and hopefully it'll be something you use for years to come. You're not just learning this for the 14-day trial. You're learning this for longevity. This is like taking a college class. Within a year, you can trade this system with your eyes closed. This concludes Best Practices for Charting Package Tutorial Series video number 4, End of Day Workspaces. If you're not a member or subscriber to our charting package, we appreciate you watching our video. Hope you learned a lot, and go over to the YouTube site here and find more videos that explain our system to you. Watch them and study them and learn them, and then go over to our website, look under products, and you can see more about the charts and read them and see them on a standstill basis, like a small tutorial, and then go over to the Contact Us area and request a 14-day or a 30-day trial. Thank you so much for watching our video. Subscribe to our channel while you're here.